Hello everyone, Krydax here, and welcome back. We're picking up right where we left off for Season 3 of pyanodon's. Working on... Are we making enough flavonoids? Did this slow down too much? Anyway, we're working on trying to get more Nextlet going here. 1.25, 1.65. Yeah, we're fine. Flavonoids. What a funny word. Anyway, yeah, what are we doing here? So, in our last episode, we built the Nextlet processing. We're trying to get that done. And as soon as it's done, we should be actually, like, rip-roaring ready to go. As soon as that recipe's done, this will all fire up. And we have everything hooked up and done already. So I don't think I need to do a single thing here, except merge this chest. And that's it, even. That'll be finally enough Nextlet, hopefully. So, regarding what to do before then, I am curious about that weird train issue we had where, you remember for a brief moment the train was like, no depots found? I am a bit worried about that, and I'm still not sure how it happened, because... like, is it possible we have more trains than depots? So I have 62 trains, and one of them's a fake train. So I really have 61. So then I can just search stations here. I can look at depot. And that adds up to 63 stations. I have 63 depots. So... I actually have 2 extra depots, more than I need. So I'm very confused on... this is also really handy. I didn't realize it showed you how many out of the total. So we can see 32 out of 46 don't have trains at them, I think is what that's saying, which means our train network is not being utilized very heavily right now. Wow, that's a really helpful way to look at this. That's really cool. Anyway, all that to say, I'm not totally sure what happened in that one weird moment. We just have to keep an eye out for it. Someone also pointed out at Stone Brick, we upgraded, this was a good comment. We upgraded these 2, but that's going to result in uneven loading for tier 2 wagons, which is true. I mean, it's not going to massively affect things though, because what would happen, so for those curious, because right now most of my requesters are not configured to upgrade to 40 stacks. So what that means is it would still request 20 stacks, and this train would leave as soon as it got 20 stacks, and each wagon could hold 20 stacks, right? So now this wagon will be getting filled and this wagon will get filled, but this one will end up with more. But it'll still leave sooner because it will have 20 stacks and it'll leave, even though neither of these will be entirely full. And then what would happen on the other end would depend on the other end's unloaders. We would need to have fast unloaders in the same spots, which we don't, ironic, or actually no, we do. So it would unload that one faster as well, and it would actually all balance out. But just to keep things balanced from first to second wagon, we can do this. But in this case, for this particular purpose at least, it wasn't actually needed, which is kind of funny. Anyways, we do need to keep an eye on the crap to make sure we don't have too much stuff. Also, at some point, I'm going to need to say too much is too much for lard, because we've got a lot of lard in here. And that's going to keep going higher and higher. In fact, we have a lot of... wait a second, what's this doing? If we're short... this is putting lard on the oleochemical belt. But only if oleochemicals are under 60k. Which they're not. So why is anything on this belt at all? Wait, I'm confused. The only way this outputs is if... oh, are we putting spoiled? What's happening? I actually don't know what's happening here. So this is spoiled lard. Lard that's about to spoil goes onto this belt, which then gets priority inputted and gets turned into oleochemicals. Okay. So we are maybe wasting some titanium. But we are legitimately going to be... We already are going to be burning oleochemicals. Interesting. At the cost of titanium. Because you can make stuff with oleochemicals. We can make aromatics and tar, and we can easily get more syngas from that tar to pay for this syngas. Because tar can make syngas at... What's the ratio? Or am I remembering that incorrectly? Nope, I'm remembering that incorrectly. Tar cannot make syngas. Interesting. Coal gas can make syngas. Tar can make these things. Like there's a loop somewhere where you can turn tar into syngas, I'm guessing. Somehow. Can you do aromatics to syngas somehow? Do aromatics to olefins. Can you do olefins to syngas? Maybe. Methanol and petroleum. I don't know. That's a stretch. And I'm just trying to think, is there something super useful we can do with these oleochemicals? That's a really bad way to make plastic. Lubricant's gonna be pretty free soon. We could make more rubber. Wait a second. 4 rubber from 1 latex, 10 carbon black, 20 polybutadiene instead of 50, and oleochems instead of Orgsolv. Interesting. I mean, it's twice as much latex efficient, but it's way less carbon black efficient. It's 5 times less carbon black efficient. So unless there was a way to get all that carbon black easily, which there really isn't, I don't even know if that's really that much better. Could make heavy oil with sulfuric acid later. Oh, you can just make syngas directly. And prod side though. I've seen that recipe 100 times. What else? Fatty acids, which are mainly just for fatty acids. And then, yeah, I guess that's about it. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just let it back up. Anyway, what we want to do in this episode, I think, is start working on our crude oil plant. Now that we've got these guys ready to go. So let's get this all deconstructed. And you know what I'm gonna do is just deconstruct all of it and then cancel the deconstruction of that building and cancel the deconstruction of the power poles. Everything else can stay, or everything else can go. All right, so this is our build that we were looking at, and it's a bulky one, but well beaconed, so there's not a lot of buildings for each thing. I will definitely allow space for overbuilding here. And let's just kind of run through what are our inputs and outputs. So we've got tin chromium alloy and TCl is what I'm calling that, or TICL? TICL3. Tickle. We can call this Tickle. Oh, that's fun. This is Tickle. We need ash as well. What's that for? The ash is for processing the residual oil into residual mixture, which then turns into more residual oil. So there's a loop there, but mostly coke. So the ash here is giving us free coke, which seems reasonably wise. And we can just provide that coke and then delete the rest of it with this recipe if we want. And then we can provide that coal gas and tar. Is there anything else? Coke can make acetylene. Coke can also make lime-ish by adding limestone. Coke and residual mixture makes the coking gas oil. But that just makes more coke, I think. It does make coke oven gas, actually. Interesting. At a ratio of 5 to 2. So we would only get about 6 units of coke oven gas out of this. Oh, I already have that set up right there. In one building, that's why we did it. Yeah. It feels kind of pointless. Coke oven gas is there, but what's the point? Probably enough to make steam in an oil boiler if I really wanted to, but that all feels a bit like pointless. I guess we just get a lot of coke out of it. So now this tar is going to be in the way of our train stations, which is actually a problem, because I am going to need that many stations, I think. So I've got a bit of a problem here. In that I actually am gonna do a thing which I wouldn't normally do, which is remove all this. And remove all that. I kept the roboports and put it over here. Because I need more space for stations. So we'll start the strong side over there. And then, what are all my bots doing, by the way? I guess it's picking up all of this soil is the main issue. Soil and clay. And sand, yeah. Oh gosh, it's horrible. Let me go help, because that's absurd. I should put circuit conditions on these things just so that this doesn't happen. Make it so that they only produce if like the next building's empty or something. This just makes a nightmare for the bots to deconstruct. Alright, take the soil, take the soil, take the soil, take the clay, take the soil and clay. That should help a lot. Do the same over here. Did I ever produce firearm magazines? I think, we needed 2 for military science, right? I need to go get some ammo to shoot things. That should help my bots a lot. Yeah, now the number's shrinking. Alright. Back to the science. I think we have... Yes, we have ammo here. Let's steal some ammo. In our speedy train. Apparently I don't have copper plates in the logistics network. Because we never seem to end up with that. Alright, getting rid of soil, sand, some stone, random copper cable, mech inserters. What else? I mean, I really don't need like 2 stacks of everything anymore. Because I'm often... Whatever, I'm just going to shoot all that. Consequences be darned. Alright. Boom. Done. It happened. You can't stop me. I'll steal a little bit more ammo here for future shootings of chests. hard mode players freaking out right now. All right, that's good enough. And we're 85%, beautiful. All right, so then as far as requests, we need the tin chromium, the tickle, and the ash, and that's it. Outputs, I was looking at this actually for a minute on my own. Sometimes I'll look at Helmod stuff outside of the videos, just out of curiosity. And phenol is actually not easy to get rid of. We're going to be making a lot of phenol to support our acetone production, because acetone then supports OrgSolve production. And we already looked at OrgSolve, you know, just to review. OrgSolve makes methanol pretty nicely. So it's possible that we move our methanol production away from the syngas and nickel and copper plate method and towards this method. I don't know if that's a good idea though, because this method is still so chill. But it's just that this method is also so chill and can be prodded, so it's like, it's not that much OrgSolve. You know, if you go back down the list here, like how much are we actually using? Because this one can be prodded. And then the acetone itself from cumene can be prodded. So even with just tier 1 prod modules, we're already looking at a ratio of only 14 strip distillates to 100 methanol. Right? And we get free ammonia, free phenol, and free petroleum. And the only additional input is syngas and aromatics, which are free, right? Those come from a million places. Maybe even including... I don't think I can turn petroleum into aromatics, though. But anyway, I digress. The point is, it's a very small amount of strip distillates. And I mean, imagine tier 3 buildings and then like tier 2 modules. And we're looking at like an absurd amount. What's the ratio here? If I do this. If I do this, the ratio is absolutely crazy. We're looking at 6 stripped distillates make 100 methanol. That's disgusting, right? Like, it's all the methanol we could ever want from this recipe, and we don't need that many aromatics from it either. So I think this is the clear winner to make methanol rather than the syngas way. This even uses less syngas. And no copper plates and no iron plates or nickel zinc. It does use TiCl instead of those, but smaller numbers. So yeah, overall, I think this is the better way to go. So I will do that. Anyway, the point is, because that's the way we're doing it, we're going to get phenol as a byproduct, which means I have to potentially burn... oh, this messed up my numbers. Back. I will potentially need to burn phenol in burners because there's no easy way to dispose of it. If you were in hard mode, you would probably what is it? Let's just put it at, does it matter? Let's just put it at the bottom, whatever. If you were in hard mode, you would probably do this version. Aniline, and then you can turn that... Actually, wait, no. I was looking at this a minute ago. Yeah, and then you could turn that into plastic, and then high priority use that plastic. That's probably the best way to get rid of it in hard mode. But even then, what if you're not using that much plastic? Like, then what do you do? Because all of this stuff is something else. What else can phenol do? So the other phenol uses... are obviously just the things you need it for, like bakelite, epoxy. I guess you can make melamine out of it. That's more free. But then you can't do anything with melamine, right? Again, it's just like, yeah, you can make plastic with it. It goes into your batteries. You can... it's an ingredient in various other things. But there's no way to just, like, burn it. You can make melamine resin out of it, which also is an ingredient in various things. It's possible that you would just never have enough phenol, but I am worried that we're going to end up with too much phenol here. So for hard mode players, this might not be a great option, but for me, I can just burn it, and we will just burn it. So anyway, that was a long explanation to say we're just going to burn the stuff. So request for solids should be good. Request for fluids. What do we need? Lubricant. We oddly don't have any aromatics here. Where do aromatics come from in this chain? Tailings. Tar. What's the other main one that we've been doing? Another one somewhere. Oh, this one, light oil. Light oil can make aromatics as needed. So I don't think I will supply. We also have gasoline needed in some quantities. Are we not producing gasoline out of this? I swore we were producing gasoline somewhere. Doesn't strip distillates do gasoline? Yes. Why is that not on my production list? Did I just assume... What did I... I feel like I said something about gasoline. That we were just going to use shale oil to have enough gasoline, or I don't know. Why is gasoline production not here? I think maybe I said to myself this was just for distillates processing. But it feels weird to not just also make gasoline here. I guess the reason is that light oil comes from so many places. Yeah, that's probably the reason. And yeah, let's do what we have on the tin here. There's a reason I did it this way. Okay. Which does mean we have a lot of fluid inputs. We've got lubricant, aromatics, syngas, and gasoline. So we've got 4. Okay. And it feels like I could probably make syngas somehow out of all this. Coke oven gas, but I don't have enough. Bitumen stuff. Oh, naphtha. I am making naphtha, so I could turn that into syngas with just a taste of chromium. So 70 syngas would use up less than half that of naphtha. Interesting. How much chromium per second? It would be like it'd be a very small amount. 0.2-ish chromium a second. To provide the syngas, which goes into... Oh, no, that's for a different build entirely. Sorry. That's for over here. So that's not even relevant. So I don't need the syngas. So I only need 3 fluids. Okay, never mind. We'll just chill then. I'll turn naphtha into syngas somewhere else. But outputs, holy guacamole, we got outputs. So we've got... Am I making the acetone here? Yes, I am making the acetone here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not doing this one here, which means I don't have methanol or petrol. So I can ignore those two. Nor do I have ammonia. But still, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Am I doing this way to make olefins? But we have olefins from aromatics. Why would I do olefins from strip distillates? I guess we would want a low priority if I am providing this. Because Yeah, when do I get... Is this because it's not until Pi 3? It might be because it's not until Pi 3. No, it's available right now. Why did I put this in here? Maybe I thought I would make this before I had Kim's Eye? I mean, I guess there's a weird world where I'm using up all my aromatics. And I don't have any more. And I want to produce it this way. So as long as I low priority the olefin output, and low priority using strip distillates for it, then it's fine. Doesn't cost me that much to add it in, but that certainly is not the main way I would ever want to make olefins. Okay, well anyway. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Skip those 3. And don't need that. Okay, so there's 9 main outputs and then olefins. So there's really 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, and then 9. Okay. And then for inputs, we only had 3 somehow, magically. So the requester here. Need gasoline. And not syngas. I already forgot. Aromatics, gasoline, and lubricant. And that's only for grease later, which I don't really need yet, but okay. Aromatics, do the full 75K. Oops, I meant to type in the other things. All right, gasoline. We'll do the full 75K, which is just not going to be very much in the late game. And then we got lubricant. Lubricant goes there. Gasoline goes here. All right, so that's good. And then for provider, this is where things get a little sticky. So the super trasher can provide to only channel 1 if we want it to. So I'm gonna need at least 2 of these. And there's 7 things provided, but I only... Oh, I do have all 7 connected. Okay. It really would be nice to get some of these out of the way. So why don't we... why don't I do this? I'm gonna take a photo on my computer and move that off to the side. And then I can still see what those numbers are while I type these in. So it was acetone, light oil. Now these are all going to be at the same priority. Am I okay with that? I think so. Fuel oil. Heavy oil. And we'll turn off byproduct for all this as well. Olefin. Condensates. Well, I might not turn off byproduct for all of it because BTX and condensates actually are byproducts, right? Or at least the no, the BTX is not, the condensates are. Yeah. Okay, so that's done. Then I do another one. And now we've got grease, xylenol. Oh, that's not it. Xylenol is... By the way, I do not have 2 hours for today's episode, so I have to keep an eye on the time. Naphtha. And that's it. Okay. All right, so then I will need to add to our secondary inventory for some of this to subtract such that things don't get byproduct provided. So something like acetone's not a byproduct. Negative 50 million. All right, let me just copy that number. Okay, so acetone's not a byproduct. Light oil, not a byproduct. Heavy oil, not a byproduct. Fuel oil, not a byproduct. What else was in this one? Condensates are a byproduct, right? Yeah, those come from the cracking, so we do want to get rid of those. So condensates are fine. BTX is specifically made on purpose here if we need it, so that's also not a byproduct. We don't want that exposed on channel 2. And what was the 7th icon we put in here? Did I put olefins? I did put olefins. And olefins are not a byproduct. Okay. So those are all not byproducts, so those will never be exposed on channel 2. But the condensates will. Perfect. Then for this one, most of these are also not byproducts. So the grease is not a byproduct. I don't think this one matters as much because I don't think grease ever will be a byproduct. I guess it's maybe possible. I don't remember everything that makes grease. Xylenol is not a byproduct. Naphtha is a byproduct? Yes. Because we're always needing to get rid of these high distillates. That's the only thing high distillates can do. So naphtha should be provided as a byproduct. Oh, we do get sorry, I forgot we do get some petroleum gas. Whoops. So I need to get petrol going in here too. I might just throw that in a fluid fuel and forget about it, but I shouldn't. Anyway, naphtha is a byproduct, and that concludes our things except for petroleum. Is petroleum a byproduct? Yes, because it comes from condensed distillates. So we are good to go on all of that. Okay, now beginning the process. So first let's get rid of some trees and rocks. So this area is all open for us. And it's gonna be some pipe craziness here. So we'll start out with the cracking. I'm gonna leave a lot of room for pipes. We're talking like 30 spaces here. For pipe craziness. All right, so then up here. We'll start with 3 destructive distillation columns. And those are going to be cracking the heavy oil, or the crude oil. And then that makes the 3 types of distillates. And then we'll need our coke management spot, which I think I'll do next to it. 4, 5, 6, 7. Put that here. No, coke management is pretty chill and doesn't need very serious beaconing. Even this one's only 0.678 of a mixer. So instead, I should put all the others. I'll put coke management somewhere else. I'll do that on the bottom, maybe. And I am going to need a super trasher for coke and phenol anyway. So super trasher, weak side, that's where we'll do all the coke management. Okay. So coke stuff will go on the bottom, and we can just move the oils down there. Which means this guy's done. And we move on to high distillates first, I guess. So the high distillates get consumed. Another thing I can do is bring other distillates here from other types of cracking. Like the bitumen cracking is creating distillates, and I could just bring all those here rather than processing them at the bitumen plant. For now, I'm not going to worry about it, but this guy processes all the high distillates, so we'll make a second one. And then this guy processes the condensed distillates. Leave a gap. Put that up there. And then the gasoline. What we'll do is connect that to this one. And then we'll have a top up into that with a tiny tank. Actually, no, that was perfect. Okay. No, that needs to only go that way. Okay, there we go. So top up from gasoline into this little loop because it creates less than it uses. Yeah. And there's no prod allowed in either, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay, so that's good. And from here, it's mostly about the low and high distillates. Ooh, we're at 96%. We're almost there. So exciting. All right, let's hook up the outputs here just to get that going. So we might have an issue. I might need to rotate these. So what rotation is going to work? Because this original rotation doesn't work because we've got crude. Here we have condensates and high distillates in a row, and there's no second spot for high distillates. Here we have steam, okay, that doesn't work, that doesn't work, and that's gonna be the reverse. So, okay, I'm gonna have to space these out more then. Because there's no way to put this here without, well, no, I can just reverse it. Right. Right. Never mind, this works. I just have to make them in pairs. Okay. So anyway, we've got steam, mediums, crude, highs, condensates, cooking gas, oil, and lows. Is that accurate? And then the highs will go on the right side here, the condensates will go on the left side, and the crude oil can go on the right side of that. I think that does it for all the connections. And then I just need to copy that twice. Well, not twice, but copy that pair to here. And that should get it all connected. Okay, and get a lamp over there. of these here, along with a RoboPort in this area. Cool. All right, so that's cracking. We are going to need to hook up a lot of stuff, and we're going to need to make a big steam plant at some point. For now, let's make a small steam plant just to get it providing some steam somewhere. So this guy plus, we'll say 4 boilers, and then, you know, something like that. Okay, so then steam is here. Have that be pretty low, because that's a pretty base resource, is how my brain likes to think about that. So there's steam, and then we'll have crude oil. What the heck? Okay. The NVIDIA app just made a Windows notification. That is unacceptable. I need to turn that off. Crude oil is going to come from over here. We are pumping it directly. Maybe someday I will do something differently and bring it in on trains from other bitumen seeps. But for now, we'll just bring it over here. And we've got 300 a second coming in with no modules, no tier 2 buildings. We've got 300 a second crude oil. This is the first time I'm thinking multi-purpose pipes would be nice. Oh, look at that, green. Oh, that's perfect. All right, so that works out. There's crude oil, and crude oil is not connected because that's not where crude oil goes. What am I doing? Crude oil goes here. There we go. Okay, so crude oil and steam are actually good to go now. So then from there, let's get the condensates out because those are a byproduct of this already. Put that there. And then condensates went into, where was it? Which one is this? 6. Done. Beautiful. Condensates are done. Then from there, we've got the 3 types of distillates and the residual mixture. Residual mixture will go over to the other side. So we'll actually have that go to here, to there, to there. Coke stuff will be dealt with over here. For now, I will just overflow it. We did it! The research is done! Nexalit! We have Nexalit! Beautiful. Okay, I think these are working properly. Maybe. Nope, nope, they're getting jammed up. Alright, they're getting jammed up. Hold on, hold on. They won't get jammed up if I just do something like this. This should be fine. Those just put rejects into a chest. Those get fed, and then that direct inserts back. And then these are still not running if there's any grade 1 in here. And then I just need to replace that over here as well. Okay. And that way the rejects are always getting used up. Beautiful. Molten Nexalit. Okay, so what I need to do immediately is turn off the requester for clean Nexalit here. And it doesn't have any anyway, so that's fine. And is that going to screw anything up that now Nexalit is not getting produced here? It probably is. I bet this belt is important to have Nexalit on it. So I guess what we can do is instead of... Actually, this is pretty easy to fix. Yeah, here. We just do this, this, falls onto that side. And then I go back to that requester and I change it from clean nextlet to nextlet plate. And now this just becomes another plate requester. Nextlet plate, 25 stacks, and we want 20 at a time, and we're done. Train is stuck. Aha. Wonder where that came from. We can upgrade this guy to make it faster. Anyway, yeah, that should do it for better nextlet now. I feel like there's one other issue. What was the other issue? We fixed this. Maybe I should I think a better way to do this is set rejects equal to 0 and measure the chest. I think that's better. So if that chest is empty, then we are allowed to insert. Otherwise, we don't. And that way, we just will use up the rejects always. I think that's a cleaner way to do it. Yeah, but that should do it. This one has nothing though. That's because the stone never got hooked up to the super treasure, which we got all sorts of issues. First of all, just fill the whole dang thing up. Second of all, I never made a super treasure. Whoops. Alright, but that is the only thing that needs to get trashed, so. And we are adding a locked slot there, so there should be no issues with that. Oh, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Okay, so back to our crude oil. Schwap, schwap, schwap. And I'll deal with the request for that later. We've already got the distillates, look at that. So then the high distillates should just be able to turn a corner here. Some other day we'll request high distillates from the network, but for now we'll just consume them all this way. And then we've got naphtha and condensed distillates to manage. The naphtha gets output to the network, and the condensed distillates will turn a corner here to go into that building. And that should do it. And then this guy makes petroleum gas, which I'm not handling. Why don't we bring that over to this layer? So now I've got naphtha and petroleum. So naphtha, I think, ended up in the second section. Yeah, whatever this one is. Number 3, second section. So that'll be here. And over. And then I guess petroleum can be 4. I don't think I'd put it anywhere yet. Yeah. Petroleum gas. Okay, number 4 here. And that will be this guy. And then what was this one? Oh, that one shouldn't go down. Yeah, there we go. All right. So now the naphtha is dealt with, and the petroleum is dealt with, And so the high distillates are fully dealt with. Cool. Now we'll work on the lows. And the lows need... So now we need to add in our requests. I said I'd do this later, but I might as well do it now. Alloy, tin chromium, alloy. But the item, not the recipe. We'll just say 25 stacks and titanium tetrachloride. 25 stacks. I'll make it 28 of each. Later I can increase that if I want. And a red belt will be more than sufficient for both. So we'll just have one belt snaking around doing stuff. And then we're dealing with the coke stuff later, so now we're working on grease, xylitol, and heavy oil are the 3 for the low distillates. Oh, and BTX. I think is it. So 4 different things. Okay. Oof. This is where the buildings get big. Thankfully, we only need one of them for each thing. So I might put them in line. Which feels a little bit weird, but... And I'll make 2 of these, because this one is more likely to need higher rates later. And that means I need to shift them over a lot, because they might... I need some highways for fluids here. And then the other one was the BTX, which is this one again. Okay. So let's make it so they're all aligned. No, that's not how I want it. Yeah, that is how I want it. I figured it out. So we're gonna do something like this, and then we're gonna do an overflow at different percentages. So this is the easiest way to control when they receive the distillates. So we want grease to be the highest priority, because that doesn't come from anywhere else. And xylitol will be equal priority. And then after that, we will make heavy oil at 30%. And then after that, we will just make BTX if we ever get to 90%. But even then, this BTX is not being byproducted. This is just if we need BTX, we can make it this way. And that way we're not wasting tin chromium alloy on BTX when it comes from recycling from the condensates. This is not factory. This one. So we're getting BTX that way already. So we shouldn't need BTX. This is just a guarantee that we're okay. And then gasoline, that'll be hooked up to the main gasoline line, which is somewhere over here. So the main gasoline line can be this one. And we do need that over here. Remember the top up there. And then that main gasoline line also needs to provide to somewhere down south, and the heavy oil one up north here. Actually, I'm gonna go straight up. This is an... Yeah, I maybe should do, what's it called? The multi-purpose pipes. But for now, I won't. Alright, so gasoline, and then water. I don't even know. I might just make water on site. There's only a couple things that need it. 3 different things that need it. One is down south. And it's the light oil and heavy oil ones. So yeah, I'll just... No. We'll make water somewhere else. Maybe I'll make it up north instead of south, so then we can provide it. All right, how am I doing for time? I've still got like 20 minutes or so. So still okay for now, but maybe not even 20, but I have a little bit of time. Okay, I'm gonna put this here so I know where our top of the section is. And then I'll just make the water for everything up here. That one, then this guy, and then from there, that'll be water. Okay, so water's hooked up, and then we need the belt to go by all of these buildings. Those don't need anything. All right. Throw a lamp over here. Anything else? Got the gasoline, got the distillate. I think we're good on low distillates now for inputs. I haven't managed the outputs yet. Oh, lubricant input. Lubricant input. Hold on, I may have screwed this up. No, we'll be okay. Lubricant input is here. So then that comes from this guy. Go over. Oh, wait, sorry. This guy. Go over and up. I think it's that one. Yeah. Now that is interfering with 6 here. So I might go up a little higher first. And we'll turn corner here at the top. I think that's a better use of space. Okay, so now we need to deal with outputs. So we've got grease out, which needs to connect with one of these. One of the secondary ones. This guy. This one. So this be grease. And then again, feels like I should connect that higher rather than lower. Okay, and then xylenol should be right next to that, so then we can go sideways down. And I think it's number 2. Double check. I think that one is the xylenol. Yep. All right, xylenol, good. What was 3? 3 was naphtha. We already hooked that up. Where's heavy oil? 1, 2, 3. There's the BTX, by the way. This is BTX. Okay, 7. So that one goes over, up, BTX. And then heavy oil was which one? This one. So here's heavy oil. Okay, so let's go turn a corner here, come around the front, and then this will be the heavy oil. And doesn't this make cold steam? Yeah. I am just going to vent that. Because none of the inputs for these are cold steam, I don't think. I think they're all hot steam, right? Yeah, hot. I guess this one uses cold, but I'd rather not deal with... Because that's heavy oil production, and that may or may not line up with the residual oil mixture turning into... residual mixture turning into coke. So those are unrelated, so I don't want those to be linked. So I'll use a little bit of extra power and just deal with it. Okay, so then that handles heavy oil. And I'm gonna move this up a bit. Leave room for more heavy oil if I need it. More heavy oil buildings. And yeah, I mean, that's done for the heavy stuff, and now it's all stripped distillates and the coke part left, which I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do all that today. So first, let's look at Nexilate. We're at 350 hours. Oh my gosh. So Nexilate plates should be producing better now. That's not what I meant to do. I meant to hit this button. So we're now producing 100 a minute, but stable for now. What do I need? What's missing? Currently, it seems like these are maxed out. No, these are maxed out. Mix 7, that uses 35, yeah, so I think the weak point right now is the foundries. Which means I'm getting 1.75 a second. Is that enough to catch up? Yes, it should be. If we can maintain it. Look at that, look at that. Oh my gosh, we have 3.1 clean Nexilate ready to go. I really need beacons now to speed this up, but this can keep up. I guess if I improve this without huge change, not really, because I can't get more than 5 of these. Technically, one more foundry would make it slightly faster. Here, I actually have a solution. There. That will make it consume 1.4, which will be 2.4 total. So there you go. So now these will be the weak link, and I can't speed those up without a beacon, so, or tier 2 buildings. So for now, this will be maxed out. Cool, cool. All right, back to tar processing and whatnots. Let's get another roboport over there. I just called it tar processing. This is crude oil processing. Thank you very much. And now we need all of the stripped distillates, which will be made over here. All right, we'll leave a gap. And then we'll get power over here. Get another roboport, get another lamp. All right, and then the stripped distillates. Let's see, what is going on right now? Let's find the button. So those are going north, so that is going to interfere a little bit. Because I need the strip distillates to come around. And eventually from trains, but for now, the stripped or the hot, medium distillates are just coming from here. So this is medium distillates. Okay. And this also gets the belt. Here. A lot of things in the strip distillates world gets the belt. Which actually means I'm gonna go across. Go to the front of the building. And then other buildings can access it from there. Okay. So that's chill, that's just stripped distillates done, and now we've got all the different ways to make stripped, or to turn stripped distillates into what we want. So we've got fuel oil, we've got cumene, which is going to be great. Leaving a space, so that's cumene. We've got cumene into phenol, which is a separate thing. We've got olefins, which is a backup. And then light oil. So light oil would be the next main thing, which I'll actually do on this side because this is still leaving room for one more strip distillates producer. So that feels fine. So we'll do 2 of these. And that checks those 3 off. And then there's just the olefins, which is a backup. So I'll only do 1 of them right there. Yeah. I think that is getting there. So, stripped distillates. Okay, so we'll go down. And then this will go around and up, just like before, and we'll have different priorities. So, priority 1 is fuel oil. I guess these ones just get attached then. That's like a 0% overflow. Then priority 2, cumene, 20%. Yeah, I realize now that I had done this wrong. I could just hook these up directly. That makes both of those the same priority, and then that's an overflow, and that's an overflow. Okay, and then we need a little tank. I don't think I put in a tank, did I? I also never connected low distillates. I just now realized that. Go across here. But yeah, I can fit a tank in anywhere. We'll just put it there. So there's a low distillates tank, and then we'll do the same thing for strip distillates here. Works. And then overflow at 20%. Then we start filling these guys. We'll make it 30. That's only 3,000 distillates. Then we start filling these guys up, and then overflow at 80% for that. And then for light oil, I guess we'll go for light oil, we'll go 50. I don't know, whatever. And then the water, we'll deal with all that in a second. Let's go back to the beginning and actually finish things one thing at a time. So that's hooked up. The strip distillates is hooked up. The fuel oil now needs to be hooked up. So fuel oil down. Down. That is on channel, whatever 4 is. Or 3? Wait, what? And, oh, that's 7. Right. 7 is the extra guy. All right, so this is fuel oil, and that comes down from here, so I can't really see what hooks up to what. Oil's over here. All right, so there's fuel oil done. Cumene. Down, down, turn corner, down, over, and then cumene is where? Are we not outputting cumene? I think I forgot cumene. Because we're also using it for acetone, but don't we need cumene for other things too? I don't know why I'm looking there. FNEI, cumene. It's used in not that. that's what I'm doing here already. So, kind of. The only other thing in the entire game cumene does is this. And that is 2 science packs away. So for now, I'm not going to output cumene. Which means I can delete what I just made. Someday, maybe I'll output cumene, but that's at least 200 hours away. Levels of hours away. So I'm not going to worry about that. And now we can look at... I guess the output of these. Well, let's get the water. So the water can come from over here. And then down. See, it'll be right there. And then that guy. One direction. Are we? Oh, I have to go. All right. Ah, always running out of time. All right, gasoline. Can I finish this before I have to go? Gasoline comes from over here. You know what I might do? Can I wiggle this through? Not right there. What about right here? Not right there. What about one tile higher? Yes. So then gasoline will connect to both light oil and heavy oil cracking from low and stripped distillates, and the water is also connected. Okay, so that's done, and then they both make residual oil, so I can hook that up too. And then I can exhaust vent. I probably should put them all in one exhaust vent, but I won't. Okay, and then I guess exhaust vents also have a speed limit. I don't know what it is exactly. I have not ever looked. It's got to be crazy. I don't know what it is. All right, we'll connect these around the top. Feels easy enough. And then light oil needs to hook up to wherever it attaches down here, which is going to be like 3. Oh. Oh, no, that's 2. All right. Wait, where am I? Where's the light oil? Here. No, that's 2. That's one I was looking at, though. Yeah. Light oil, light oil, light oil, light oil. Okay, perfect. All right, so light oil's done. And now the last step is to hook up olefins. And then I think we're actually done with everything except the coking gas stuff. So these we will have come around the front. Fuel oil. And where will they go? Here. Number 5. Okay. And that'll come across, and we're done. Wow. Cool. Now, I am going to have to downgrade those buildings, obviously, so we need to get heavy oil refinery. Should have done that a minute ago, because now the auto mall is going to be sad. Get those replaced. And then we need gas refinery. And then we need compressors and light oil refineries. Light oil refinery. It does respect the rotation, which is nice. Like, even if this is rotated wrong, it does stick with whatever the blueprint already said. So I can just quick replace all these. And then finally we've got the compressors, of which there are 4. I think that's it. Perfect. And I think that's it. Now we just need the light oil processing research. Do I really need desulfurization first? I do need more lubricant. So maybe I do. I don't know. I don't know which one of these I need first, actually. I might need the phenol more, to be honest. Because I've had plenty of lubricant recently. I'm gonna reorder those. Okay, what I didn't do and what... Oh, I've got like 5 minutes. What I have barely just enough time, hopefully, to do is grab the catalysts here. And power everything up. And then, for good measure, we'll throw another RoboPort. Throw a lamp there, throw a lamp here. I think that's it, though. Right? As far as all the connections and everything except the residual oil stuff is done. Feels too easy, but I think I did it right. And I already handled the fluid outputs and canceling out the ones we don't want to be byproducts. Oh, I guess there's one last thing, and then we'll be done before the residual oil part, is this part. This part's actually a pretty big part, which is the phenol production. So I'll need one more power pole out here and another extension of the RoboPort grid, and this guy's gonna make all the phenol. I think the buildings can be next to each other. And we'll just do that, and then we can have a belt of phenol coming down the middle. Red belt. Eventually it might need to be 2 red belts, or a blue belt plus a red belt, so I'll space them out like this. I will do a fast underground like that, which allows for a beacon in the middle. Destructive distillation column, Mark 1. That quick replaced. Okay, and now we just need the input, which is pretty chill. That's the input, and then the output. Oh, of course I put that right on top of the output. What am I doing? I don't know. Okay, I'll do that, and then the output of the acetone is here. Hook that up. And then I need to copy this. Except those are 2 ways. Okay, and now we have the connection for cumene. Can come over and up. Perfect. Okay, so then that's huge phenol out, and then acetone will go down. And finally, the acetone. Number 1 here. Beautiful. And this will allow for infinite organic solvent. And even lots of ammonia. Which is awesome. Boom. All right. That should pretty much do it. Definitely need some more RoboPorts over here. Make sure we got zones for everything. We need to load the phenol into the trash. It's gonna be down here. As well as loading coke into the trash. So I will need to manage, you know, how much of each one is in there. And we'll burn the rest of the phenol. That's 288 stacks. So let's say we can have, we want a lot of room for coke too. So we'll say 120 stacks phenol. We'll burn the rest. And then coke comes in that way. Okay, I believe with the exception of the residual gas, residual oil stuff, we are done. Acetone is... Yeah, wow. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. I'm still missing light oil refineries, so I'm wondering if that's not in the auto mall or if it's frozen. Duralumin, now that's not good. Duralumin. Oh, we're out of molten copper. Interesting. That's downright interesting. Because the copper plates are not getting used because of the copper rejects. Because these copper plates don't get used. We actually have to burn the extra rejects here to keep the molten copper flowing for duralumin, because this is low priority copper plates. So now most of my copper plates come from here, but we're not making duralumin here, so we need to fix that in the next episode. For now, we'll call it good, and as always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one.